offensively for Oklahoma State.
Doug Sermons, Bird Smith, Michael Greenstein, the officials. OSU ineligible for the postseason. Of course, TCU can help fortify its resume. Of course, every win in the Big 12 is a resume booster, especially on the road. It would be just TCU's second quad one victory. But Avery Anderson III opens the game with a three. That's a good sign for the Cowboys. He has been stuck in the refrigerator over the last 6 games.
Yeah, last 6 games, only averaging 5.5 points in Big 12 play. And it'll be interesting to see if that make here early gets him some confidence in the offensive end.
See the TCU starting lineup. They're among Joe Lunardi's last 4 teams in the tournament at the moment. Yes, it's mid-January, but that's how the resume stacks up right now. Emmanuel Miller, the Texas A&M transfer, off the mark. Oklahoma State on the run.
And Ted, both these teams really want to get up and down in transition. They have the guard play to do that, but you got to clean the glass, particularly for Oklahoma State today, so you can run, because TCU, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country.
OSU turns it over. Isaac Likely trying to find Bryce Williams on the perimeter. Yeah, that is a matchup to watch, right? TCU on the boards, one of the very best in America overall in terms of rebounding margin and on the offensive glass. Mike Boynton celebrated his 40th birthday on Monday. Miller had it knocked out of his hands. It'll stay with TCU. Boynton was telling his team yesterday, Brendan, we don't get credit tonight for Saturday's win. It is time to move on. That's in the past. Let's build on it.
Well, this league's unforgiving. I mean, it was obviously a great win. They played great defense. They took care of the basketball, which always can give you a chance on the road. But now you come home, midweek game against a very good TCU team. You got to show maturity, because when you play a Jamie Dixon team, you have to match their toughness, because that's what they're about.
So each team turns it over on successive possessions. Likely couldn't float it in. Rebound for TCU, which is fresh off 2 dramatic wins over Oklahoma in overtime on Saturday and against Kansas State a week ago on the road. Missed 3 from Damian Ball, the Memphis transfer. And another turnover for Oklahoma State. Anderson with the walk. Now, over the last 6 games, Brendan, 6 points per game, shooting just 23% from the field. But Anderson with that early 3, trying to get something going.
You know, sometimes it's hard for players to differentiate between what's a good game and what is not in terms of what your coach wants. And Mike Boynton talked about the win in Stillwater against Texas, where Anderson only had 8 points, but he had 6 boards, 4 assists, and no turnovers. So that's the thing for him, is just his decision making. If it's good, everything else falls into place.
Miller with the floater. It came on a putback attempt. Lampkin kept it alive. Again, TCU on the offensive glass. They are second in the country in offensive rebounding percentage. They gather in 39% of their own misses.
That's amazing. And it's also amazing, Miller and Lampkin both average over 3 offensive rebounds apiece.
Cisse in trouble down low. Forget about the shot. Foul is called on the floor. Lampkin was defending.
You know, as I watch both these teams, Ted, settle in. You see right here, Cisse has some length right there. That's a 7'5" wingspan from Cisse to go get it. But both of these teams, it's imperative they take care of the basketball.
Bryce Williams drills the 3 for Oklahoma State. The Cowboys average a league worst 5 threes per game, and yet they have 2 in the first 3 minutes.
Well, they felt like, you know, they just shoot it slightly better, which wouldn't be much. They shoot 29% from 3-point range, but they're so good defensively and so athletic. If they take care of the ball and knock a couple down, they obviously can play with anybody in the country.
Nice feed by Miller to Lampkin, couldn't hit it. TCU offensive rebound. And Lampkin is fouled, going up strong again. That's a fun matchup, Brendan. The size, the girth, if you will, of Eddie Lampkin and the length of Moussa Cisse.
And right there, Lampkin does a great job. He patiently waits on the drive, and then Cisse helps up the floor a little too high. Nice dump down from TCU, but as you alluded to a couple possessions ago, Ted, you know, how did they get this other look? It was on an offensive rebound. 15 of those a game, and they already have 2.
Eddie Lampkin Jr., the freshman from Houston, has undergone a metamorphosis as Cisse gets an early breather. Lampkin dropped 70 pounds from the start of last season. At one time, he was 338 pounds. That was the fall of 2020. He's now listed at 268.
And he's playing great. You know, they're able to run because he can now run the floor. He can be a rim runner for Jamie Dixon, but so much credit he deserves for putting in the work. You know, it's crazy, Ted. You say 70, people think you're saying 17. And you have to go, no, 7-0.
Yes. Miles swatted by Bryce Williams. TCU collects it, though. In too deep is Chuck O'Bannon, and they back it out. Ball, the drive and kick. And the 3 ball is in for TCU. Emmanuel Miller, just his 6th made 3 of the season.
And Miller basically played the 5 at A&M last year. And Jamie Dixon is helping him develop that perimeter game.
And with TCU's training program, with the nutritionists on staff, Lampkin's a new man.
And you know, he's obviously put in the work. But if you've been around him or heard anybody, you know, his teammates or Coach Dixon talk about it, they love this guy. He's got an unbelievable personality. He's infectious. He's starting to play really good. And then, you know, they were shut down prior to conference season, TCU, with COVID protocols. It did not affect Lampkin. And so Coach Dixon told us they were able to really work on his skill work during that stretch. He got a lot of gym time, obviously no class over the holidays. You know, and it's paid off. He had 9 points, 6 boards at K-State, Ted. And then he affected the game against Oklahoma in another way. He had 3 assists against Oklahoma on Saturday. So definitely improving is Eddie Lampkin.
Francisco Farabello turns it over, and Oklahoma State with the 8-6 lead. Ted Emmerich, Brendan Manzer, our entire crew. Oklahoma State trying to build off its win over #1 Baylor on the road Saturday. Cowboys have made a couple of threes in the first 5 minutes. Looking for another here. That's off the mark, but an offensive rebound. Tyreek Smith. Likely to post a big frame at 6'5", and Likely puts it in. You see TCU among Joe Lenardi's last 4 teams in the tournament. You know, Joey Brackets is already holed up in the bunker, subsisting on nothing but energy drinks and growing out the beard.
He's a mad scientist. You know, he's got 8 Big 12 teams in right now. I mean, that's amazing.
Miles deep 3 doesn't fall, and Bryce Williams soars for the rebound for Oklahoma State. 8 of the 9 eligible teams in the Big 12 are in the tournament. Kansas State, the only one that's not in the field. And oh, by the way, they've knocked off back-to-back top 25 opponents in Texas Tech and Texas.
Yeah, and obviously in this league, always an opportunity to beat a quality opponent, and particularly this year.
Again, this would be a quad 1 victory for TCU. Oklahoma State ranked 52nd in the net entering the game. Micah Peavy trying to step through, and he traveled. It's the Frogs' 3rd turnover. Now for Mike Boynton and company again, unfortunately, they don't have a postseason to look forward to. But what a celebration it was in the locker room after beating Baylor on the road Saturday.
Well, always impressive, those type of wins. But think about what led up to that the week that they had. Go to West Virginia on Tuesday, and then you have the makeup of the postponement of the Tech game, so they go to Lubbock on Thursday. And in both those games, quite honestly, they struggled and were dominated at both ends of the floor. And then you go to wake up in yourself somewhat. But that's one of the, I think, really good things about Mike Boynton, Ted, is he is so positive. He's honest with his guys, but he's always talking about what the opportunity is and how you can benefit from keeping a positive attitude and staying the course. And we've seen him win a lot of games on the road against high-level competition in his young coaching career.
A steal. Oklahoma State leads the league, averaging 10 steals per game. They've got it here. Rondell Walker way off.
Now, what Oklahoma State's got to guard against is they made 2 early threes, but they can't fall in love with it. They are best getting downhill, particularly after a little bit of ball movement because of all the athletes they have out there on the perimeter.
Nice ball movement here. Swinging around. Walker the drive this time, trying to shovel it to Likely. And TCU comes up with it. Jacoby Coles the hustle play. Francisco Farabello banks it in with the floater.
Farabello is a really good basketball player, Ted. I mean, this is a guy that makes excellent choices on the basketball floor. Probably nobody more than Farabello that Jamie Dixon trusts on his basketball team. Doesn't ever turn it over and always makes good plays.
Xavier Cork fouls Cisse on his way to the basket.
And watch this right here. First of all, the poor closeout, he feels it, so he drives, and he continues to float. The defender never commits, so he's able to continue to get to the rim, converts, and this is the type of guy every basketball team needs. Last year, only played 9 games, just had minor injuries, COVID protocol, and Jamie Dixon talked at length to you and I about him, how important he is to TCU and how much they missed him last year.
And important in situations like right here, Mike Miles off the floor, getting a rare breather. Miles among the Big 12 leaders in minutes played, and Farabello runs the offense. Missed free throw by Cisse. Whistle though, a lane violation, and Cisse will have another crack at it. Moussa Cisse much improved at the line in Big 12 play.
There's Miles right there. Obviously, Jamie Dixon using that under 12 media timeout that's coming up, get him some extended rest, because as you said, Ted, you want Mike Miles on the floor as much as possible.
TCU has started 3 of 10 from the floor, including 1 of 5 from 3. Farabello can shoot it. That's a swish. He ties it at 11.
There was great spacing right there in that possession. Just classic side-to-side ball movement right there. Farabello, a pure shooter from long range.
Keelan Boone has become a pure shooter, just off the mark there. TCU with numbers. Micah Peavy lays it home. Jamie Dixon wants his team to get up and down. They can certainly do it with the Texas Tech transfer, Micah Peavy.
Yeah, that was a great break right there. And the better part of this mini run that TCU is on is you're doing it with Miles getting his rest.
Under 10 to shoot. Bryce.
Reason, I would say he's the best playmaker. Their scoring ability, but also the ability to create in the half court. He averages 4 assists per game, which is 4th in the league. And Jamie Dixon has always run really good ball screen offense, particularly at the top of the key, and they run him in there a bunch, and he's great at it. Waits on it, uses it. He's able to create help opportunities. And Ted, you look at those 2 wins, most recent wins in the Big 12, he was right in the middle of it, not on a scoring perspective, but in terms of creating for teammates. You had the play at K-State where Miles hit Baugh for the go-ahead bucket late inside a minute. Same thing happened against Oklahoma in overtime when he hit O'Bannon. So he is a true playmaker, and you just got to kind of keep him contained and make everything tough on him.
Ball finds Eddie Lampkin, who puts it in. The lead is 4. You know, ball is considered the key to the team. Jamie Dixon told us that on Monday, Brendan. Thought that was interesting, and it makes sense as the secondary playmaker next to Miles.
Yeah, that's exactly why. It takes a little pressure off of Miles, and you have to respect Ball when you're playing him. You can't just forget about him and key on Miles. And so you're right, he's kind of the player, not the Robin, because that doesn't give him enough credit, but that's why Jamie Dixon thinks he's important. He's an excellent athlete, gets downhill, he's got great energy, but like Miles too, he's a 3-level scorer. He's got mid-range in there as well.
TCU has turned it over 5 times in the first 10 minutes.
That's been a struggle for them.
0 for their last 5 from the floor. Matthew Alexander Moncrief. The tip, no, sticking with the play, and he puts it home. Pure energy is Moncrief.
Well, in the type of energy he brings always depicts how much Mike Boynton is going to play him. And when he plays as an energy guy that attacks the offensive glass and is active there, then he's going to play significant minutes. When he's not doing that, his minutes are usually down within games. So for Oklahoma State, that's a good sign.
Ball's got to create. 3 to shoot. The floater. In and out. And the rebound tracked down by Avery Anderson III. Moncrief again in the paint. Oh, out of control.
Now, Moncrief has an explosive first step, as you saw right there, but he gets a little sloppy when he tries to go finish.
Lampkin diving on the floor. O'Bannon fouled, and he connects. A chance at a 4-point play for Chuck O'Bannon, the hero from Saturday against Oklahoma.
Well, O'Bannon's a 37% three-point shooter, and this is excellent basketball by TCU because you get it out of the scrummage and you move it immediately. Look at the big fella, Lampkin, right there. Keeps it alive. There's the kick. And O'Bannon, Ted, is an excellent catch-and-shoot guy. He gets those feet in rhythm, and he's money. And it's good to see him healthy for a second year and starting to play the way that we all knew he could.
Couldn't cap off the 4-point play, but O'Bannon is playing the best ball of his star-crossed career. Remember, just 100 minutes in 3 years at USC. Now in his second full year at TCU, and the lights coming on. Anderson knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Oklahoma State, 9 on the timer. And Jamie Dixon said that there was a time when he thought that O'Bannon should have been farther along, but then he remembered last year they had 5 separate COVID shutdowns. This year, finally, with practice, O'Bannon is rising to the occasion. Bryce Thompson is starting to rise to the occasion. From the last 2 games against Texas Tech and Baylor, he knocks that down. Oklahoma State within 3.
And that's probably the best part of his game is mid-range. He uses the rhythm dribble a lot to get him there.
Miles pass tipped and stolen. Anderson on the break. Likely the feed. And Caleb Boone is called for the offensive foul.
Well, shots are hard to come by in this league. Excellent defensive teams. We have 2 of those here tonight, and sometimes you just got to go make a play on your own. There's Bryce Thompson, mid-range jumper.
Let's crunch some numbers, shall we? Ted Emmerich, Brendan Manzer, our entire crew with you. So the net is in its 4th year, the NCAA evaluation tool, one of the metrics used by the selection committee. In the Big 12, everybody is 65th or better in the net. That means every road game in the Big 12 right now is a quad 1 win. Of course, the best kind of win for your resume.
You know, it's amazing. I'm sitting here thinking, Ted, so with the exception of the Big 12 SEC Challenge, which the SEC is an excellent league. There's some big-time matchups in there. I mean, you're just going to be playing each other. So your net rankings aren't going to change a whole lot, even if you're in the bottom half of the league.
It's just a meat grinder, night in and night out. Miller's pass tipped. Caleb Boone diving on the floor, and Oklahoma State ball. Caleb Boone has not played in either of Oklahoma State's 2 Big 12 wins over Texas and Baylor. He is trying to shake out of the doldrums.
Well, Oklahoma State, I mean, he's essentially a 5, and Mike Boynton is not going to play 2 bigs together. TCU not aware of the shot clock right there. So you have Musa Cisse, who's a rim protector and a rim runner. And then they really like Tyreek Smith, Mike Boynton does, because he went on and on about him today, you know, where he defends, he's a rebounder, and he gives some brute or some toughness inside. And then Caleb Boone, it's not even close, is their most accomplished offensive player with his back to the basket. But it's the defensive end that Mike Boynton wants him to continue to improve, because you don't want drop-off defensively at the 5 if you're Oklahoma State. And they felt like they've been getting that a little bit with Boone. No question he's an offensive guy, but they needed him to play the other end of the floor too.
Found his twin brother in the corner, but again, Keelan Boone could not hit. Miles pass tipped by Anderson. And Avery Anderson glides in for 2. It's a 1-point game.
Yeah, you absolutely have to take care of the basketball if you're any team, particularly on the road, but especially against Oklahoma State. They are challenged in the half court, Oklahoma State is, but if you turn it over and it's a live ball turnover, it gets them going offensively in transition. And TCU really has struggled to take care of the basketball, quite honestly, in the entire portion of their Big 12 conference games.
35 turnovers in their last 2 games, both of them wins over Kansas State and Oklahoma. 8 turnovers so far tonight for the Frogs. Caleb Boone working against Suleiman Doumbia. And the whistle blows. Foul on Doumbia, the junior college transfer from Navarro. Well, check out the ESPN Plus docuseries, Our Time Baylor Basketball, and follow the Baylor women's and men's basketball teams all season long in their quest for national titles. New episodes Thursday, exclusively on ESPN Plus. Check it out tomorrow.
I would highly,
Boone at the line.
I was going to say, Ted, I would highly recommend, if people haven't watched that, go watch it. Particularly, you know, if you're a Big 12 men's basketball fan, you get a little insight, I think, of the culture that Scott Drew has down there. You know, you and I have been around it for years, and they've been good for a long time. But there's just kind of a culture, there's development, there's good chemistry within the program. And I think it really gives a little bit of insight to that. You know, it's more than just X's and O's with these basketball teams, right? I mean, you, especially with portals and getting groups of guys together to come together quickly, not knowing each other well, you know, that's important, your culture and your chemistry. And you really see that, I think, in our time with the Baylor.
Yeah, Scott Drew and his staff have instilled there in Waco the culture of joy, right? Such a positive message. Boone ties it up at 18, and Musa Cisse returns. By the way, Our Time Baylor basketball also excellent because of what Nikki Collin is doing with the Baylor women, and that's a fascinating story, taking over for Kim Mulkey again. Well worth your time on ESPN Plus. Our Time Baylor basketball. Miles has yet to score tonight. 0 of 4 from the field, coming off a season-low 6 points in the win over Oklahoma. 6 to shoot. Farabello the drive. Cole's the kick. And an air ball from Baugh. Another shot clock violation. And turnover number 9 for Jamie Dixon's team.
You know, we showed the net rankings, and all 65, or all 10 teams in the top 65. The biggest reason this year, the quality of the depth, Ted, is literally every team in this league is really good defensively. Every one. And some of them do it a little bit differently. Oklahoma State, that last possession, one of the things I think has helped them is they are not overplaying or extending out on the floor. So they've backed off their disruption or their pressure. Now, obviously with their athleticism and length, I mean, they're getting out and guarding you, but they're not getting beat off the bounce as much. They're keeping things in front of them, and I think that's helped them defensively.
Miles to ball, missed the layup. Xavier
Kempkin and Miller are the elite offensive rebounders. But you've also got Micah Peavy gets a couple a game. And as a team, I mean, they really crashed the glass great. And that was a staple of Jamie Dixon on all those great Pittsburgh teams. They defended, and they were terrific on the glass. And you can tell he really likes this team because it reminds me of those days, or reminds him of those days at Pittsburgh when they were so good at it. This team is a lot like that.
13 of TCU's 20 points have come on second chance opportunities. Forget about the dunk by Cisse. It's an offensive foul on Oklahoma State. Bryce Williams called for the foul. Farabello steps into it. He's got his second three. Set up by Miles.
Yeah, right there, you can see what Oklahoma State is doing. When Miles has it, uses a ball screen, they're basically keeping him in a soft double team, Ted, until he gets rid of it. But once it gets out of his hands, Oklahoma State's going to have to recover defensively. So that's great ball movement right there. And Miles, again, a playmaker. He's not forcing anything in terms of scoring, but he's creating help opportunities, and they're getting the ball moving.
Miles, an air ball underneath O'Bannon. Out of bounds, last touch by Likely. It'll stay with TCU. 14 on the timer after the official timeout. Miles scoreless, but TCU leads by 5.
We've talked about how intelligent Francisco Farabello is. And watch him right here. He's going to act like he's going to go set a ball screen because Oklahoma State has been keeping Miles in a double team till he gets rid of it. But he just swings through. Look at the spacing right here. Spots up, able to shoot in rhythm. So essentially baits Oklahoma State into thinking that it was going to be a ball screen. Anderson goes to double, and then he just fans or flares right there. And Farabello, 3 of 3 from the floor. 2 of those are three-point makes, Ted. He's got 8 points. And just every time he has scored, it's because he has done something intelligent. High basketball IQ for this young man.
Well, unfortunately, just as you say that, Farabello stepped on the sideline, which is TCU's 10th turnover. But Jamie Dixon told us on Monday, Brendan, when teams decide to trap Mike Miles, force the ball out of his hands, other players have to step up. Farabello has done that for the most part tonight. Bryce Thompson, floater, no. Rebound for Micah Peavy and TCU.
Yeah, and it's usually not the first pass like it was on the Farabello 3 we just talked about. It's usually 2 passes later out of that. It's the pass out of it by Miles, and then it's an extra pass where the opportunity typically is.
Oklahoma State hasn't scored in more than 2.5 minutes. Likely cut off by Peavy. Thompson, this time the runner drops. Bryce Thompson has 6 to lead the Pokes.
Now Thompson, he's a guy that nothing of his game really jumps off the page, but he is solid in all phases, and one of them is ability to play away from the basketball. That's a nice cut right there, and a nice look from Likely.
Lampkin trying to bully his way past Cisse, and it's an offensive foul. He might not be 330 anymore, but at 260 throwing his weight around.
And Oklahoma State, obviously, they're going to play behind Lampkin with Cisse because of his ability to alter shots. So he had clearly had good defensive position right there. That's one thing about Cisse that I've been impressed with, Ted, is he's a rim protector. He has shot blocking ability. Obviously, that usually comes away from the ball. But he's a good position defender in the post as well.
Oklahoma State with its 8th turnover. TCU has 11. And Ball is fouled on his way to the cup. Thompson with his first. Miller trying to pass out. Ball is loose, scooped up by Ball. Cork misses everything, but again, the offensive rebound. This time it's Damian Ball, and the lead is back to 5.
Yeah, multiple purple jerseys constantly and consistently attacking that offensive glass, even in broken floor situations as we had right there.
And Oklahoma State gives it right back. It's on Smith. His first and the 6th team foul. 10 offensive rebounds for TCU in the first half and 15 second chance points.
I'll tell you what, if they would just take care of the basketball, and as you mentioned earlier, they've been able to win games being careless with it. But they're up 5, and they have 11 turnovers here the first half. Just think where they would be if they would curtail those turnovers.
Ball inside, Cork lost it going up. Active hands again from Oklahoma State, and a foul on TCU in the open floor.
Yeah, length, athleticism, that's what Mike Boynton recruits to, and there's Rondell Walker right there, knocking it away cleanly. Walker had a really good freshman year, even on the offensive end as well. He's a terrific defender, and it seems to me that last couple of games, Ted, he's kind of got his defensive mojo back. He's got 5 steals, been a lot more active, and even more confident on that end. But he's got some offensive potential as well. He just has really struggled with his confidence.
And he fits the prototype that Mike Boynton wants with his length on the perimeter. Walker misses the front end of the 1-and-1. 1:20 remaining in the half. TCU up by 5, even though Mike Miles, the 3rd leading scorer in the Big 12, has not scored tonight. Miles on the bench at the moment. Farabello leads TCU with 8. Around and out. Offensive rebound for the moment, taken away by Oklahoma State. Stepping into it, Bryce Williams. It's short. Offensive board for the Pokes. Likely, too strong. And Peavy secures it for the Frogs. 45 seconds remaining. And a timeout for Jamie Dixon. And TCU 37 seconds to go until the break. Well, we lost a titan in the game of basketball, and one that you might not know that much about. Lucia Harris Stewart was known as the Queen of Basketball, passed away far too soon Tuesday at just 66 years old. Lucy Harris was the first black woman inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in 1992. Won 3 national titles at Delta State in Mississippi in the 1970s. Scored the first points in Olympic women's basketball history. Was even the first and only woman to be drafted by an NBA team. The New Orleans Jazz drafted Harris in 1977. She was simply a dominant force.
Yeah, a pioneer. And, you know, as a player, so I did a little research because I didn't know what type of play, like many position, Ted, but she was a dominant center and literally unstoppable. And then, you know, her opportunity to be drafted by the New Orleans Jazz, I mean, are you kidding me? Very impressive.
Miles blocked at the rim. Oklahoma State has it. The shot clock is dark. Now, Harris truly a trailblazer. We send our very best, our condolences to her family. Final 6 seconds. Bryce Williams guarded by Miles. Trying to turn the corner. Off the spin. Cole's got a piece of it. And the first half comes to what it's to. Francisco Farabello has a game-high 8 points off the bench. The Horned Frogs have gotten nothing offensively from Mike Miles Jr., the third leading scorer in the conference at 17 per game coming in. 0 of 6 from the floor, 0 of 2 from downtown in the first half. Damian Ball opens the second half with the bucket. Ball was 1 of 6 himself in the first 20 minutes. He's now got 4 points.
Yeah, right off the bat, nice job of TCU just attacking off the bounce right there. You get to the heart of the defense, and Ball, we mentioned, he's got all 3 levels. You saw the mid-range right there.
Inside, Cisse banks it in. His first field goal. The Memphis transfer has 3.
Yeah, Cisse is still raw offensively, but he is getting better. They're looking to throw it down there to him more often, and TCU will just play one-on-one in the post because of Lampkin's big body. So I'd look for Oklahoma State to continue to try to go there inside to Cisse.
Miles with 6 to shoot. Ball pulls the trigger. Offensive rebound, Chuck O'Bannon. The second best offensive rebounding team in the country, TCU.
Yeah, and I tell you what Lampkin does a lot, Ted. He taps balls out, too, and keeps them alive. Right, there he goes again. That's 2 on this possession.
And Emmanuel Miller is fouled. The possession, as a result, just lasts forever. That has got to be so difficult to guard if you're Oklahoma State.
And you get different types of offensive rebounding. You know, Lampkin, I mean, he's just a load. And with the weight that he shed, he also moves pretty well. Look at him run that one down. But there was multiple times in the first half, Ted, where he didn't get the offensive rebound, but because of his size and length, he just taps it, keeps the ball alive, and then his other teammates, again, conditioned to attack the glass, were able to corral them.
Miller, the Texas A&M transfer, who has transitioned from 5-man with Buzz Williams to perimeter player, more on the wing with TCU. Now with 7 points and 5 rebounds. Horned Frogs have their largest lead. Keelan Boone was 0 of 3 from distance in the first half. 10 to shoot, Bryce Williams. Likely trying to attack Miller. And Miller got a piece of it. Boone collects it, got to put it up. And it leads to the steal by Ball. Ball, the lefty scoop, he's fouled.
Yeah, Keelan Boone on that other end wasn't shot clock aware. Ball did not hit the rim when Likely gets the ball down in the post, and then he panics right here and throws it away. You know, TCU, we talked about them not taking care of the basketball that first half. Oklahoma State had 9 first half turnovers themselves. And one of the things that the Cowboys have done better as of late is take care of it. Against Baylor, they only turned it over 10 times. And that always gives you a chance, particularly on the road. And when you struggle offensively, Ted, you know, you really can't have empty possessions.
Ball extends the lead to 8. TCU among Joe Lunardi's last 4 teams in the tournament. They need a win tonight to stay in. Yeah, it's mid-January, but they're trying to build their resume. And a Big 12 chock full of potential boosting victories. Bryce Williams hits the 3 for Oklahoma State.
Well, the ball movement looks better. And when you watch TCU defensively, they are so good away from the basketball. They are ready and in help position. So your bodies have to move. The ball's got to move. Yeah, so you get Williams cutting. Look at the spacing. Here's the handoff, and you go behind the screen. So that is better. I mean, that's a tough shot. Not a clean look, but it's better spacing and movement if you're Oklahoma State than we saw in the first half.
Lampkin hooks it in, and he's fouled. A chance at 3 for big Eddie Lampkin Jr.
This is nice right here. I mean, That's pretty agile, Ted. When you give a big like that, the basketball, movement in traffic, Cisse, the Big 12's leading shot blocker, in your way, the ability to, one, not turn it over, gather yourself, have soft feet, and then release it softly and get it to go. That's an excellent play by the big fella.
And it's Cisse's third personal. He comes out, Tyreek Smith is in. Rondell Walker, pure from the outside. He connects. Just his 9th made 3 of the season.
And if you look back to the beginning of that first half, and you mentioned it, Ted, Oklahoma State hit a couple of early threes, and then their offense would stagnate. So good news is, for Oklahoma State, you get these to go down. Williams earlier, and then here's Walker in transition. Nice job of Williams advancing the ball up the floor with the pass. But Oklahoma State's got to remember, when you get settled in that half court, you got to continue to move the ball against the good defense of TCU and not fall in love with that 3.
Now this is a special game for Rondell Walker and Mike Miles of TCU. Grassroots teammates in the summer of 2019 with the Texas Titans, one of the top teams in the Nike EYBL. Cade Cunningham was also on that team. Bryce Williams off the mark. Offensive rebound, Tyreek Smith. Greg Brown of Texas, now with the Portland Trail Blazers, was also on that team. It was simply loaded and made it all the way to the Nike Peach Jam in North Augusta, South Carolina. Williams collapses, no whistle. O'Bannon is fouled at the other end, and Walker goes up 10 rows. And Williams remains down.
Foul on the Cowboys, number 5, Rondell Walker. That's his first.
Here's a look. This is a great recovery and contest by O'Bannon. And just straight up and down right there, and it looks like that Bryce Williams, he landed on his foot. Couldn't tell from that angle. Obviously holding that left ankle.
Well, Brendan Williams has certainly struggled through Big 12 play to this point. Mike Boynton has said over and over again, he is our best player. We're searching for consistency from him. That is a big loss no matter what, as Williams gets medical attention.
Yeah,
right there. Yeah, just turned that left ankle, landing on O'Bannon's foot.
Yeah, hopefully you can either get taped up or tighten up those shoelaces and get him back in. But you're right about Williams, Ted. I mean, he's been their most consistent scorer, and he's also had to become kind of a playmaker. Oklahoma State doesn't have true point guard play. Isaac Likely does a lot of things well, but he's not a table setter. And Bryce Williams, he's got 13 assists in the last 3 games coming in, and he's been asked to do more than just score.
Kalen Boone now 0 of 4 from beyond the arc. He has shot it so well in Big 12 play to this point. TCU trying to secure a quad 1 victory on the road and improved to 3-1 in Big 12 play. 5-point lead for the Frogs. Early second half, Ted Emmerich, Brendan Manzer, our entire crew. Bryce Williams shaken up, turned his left ankle, had to head out, remains on the bench for Oklahoma State. The Cowboys' leading scorer on the season. Caleb Boone working inside, got it back, and he draws the foul.
Right out of the immediate timeout, Oklahoma State has Caleb Boone in there, and you know they're going to try to get him his touches because it's an offensive possession coming out of that timeout. Really hasn't gotten going consistently this year. Ted, you mentioned that he didn't play in the Texas game, didn't play against Baylor, but you know, in his limited minutes, which has been about 14 minutes a game, he scores 8 points. And so he's a guy that can help Oklahoma State offensively, and he's a legitimate threat with his back to the basket.
Mike Miles back on the floor, scoreless to this point, averages 17 a game. He's 0 of 7 from the field. Boone 0 for 2 at the line. Mike Boynton told us last week before the Texas Tech game on Saturday that Caleb Boone was flat out struggling, that he had lost confidence, but he is showing some life tonight with his hustle.
Well, and so many times, you know, I think a lot of young players this day and age, they kind of beat themselves up. If they have a couple of bad games or a couple of bad possessions even. I think Caleb Boone's one of those types, but he's also a type, I think if you get him a bucket or two, he'll regain that swag.
And this will help, a block shot on Mike Miles Jr. Caleb Boone is the second leading shot blocker in the Big 12 behind his teammate Musa Cisse.
Yeah, not as strong a defender as Cisse or even Tyreek Smith, but he can rim protect, particularly away from the basketball. Nice block right there.
Farabello spotting up into the shot clock, an air ball. The 15th turnover for Jamie Dixon's crew.
When Oklahoma State keeps you in front and is sound and solid, and they can pressure you yet still being that way, their length is tough to score against because they can contest everywhere at a high clip.
Caleb Boone puts it in. Oklahoma State is staying in this because of their defense. Kick ball by Keelan Boone, Caleb's twin brother. It's a three-point game.
Well, as we talked about earlier, TCU defensively, they are typically going to just play one-on-one in the post. And part of the reason Oklahoma State was able to go in there is Lampkin not being in the game. And I think, there he is, Jamie Dixon inserted him back in there. A little tougher to get low post position probably for Caleb Boone against Lampkin than other TCU big men.
Coles misfires, was looking for Lampkin in the post, and the pass was off target. 16 turnovers for TCU.
You know that has to be driving Jamie Dixon nuts. And, you know, what else can you do? Continue to be positive over there on the sideline. And despite 16 turnovers, you're still up 3 on the road.
Walker to the basket, he puts it in. Oklahoma State within a point.
And Ted, you have a couple of guys for Oklahoma State who had really good seasons last year that have struggled, and Caleb Boone and Rondell Walker both making plays here in the second half offensively.
Farabello in a crowd, the scoop, and it goes. Francisco Farabello, the first player in double figures with 10. That's a season high. The jumper is a swish for Oklahoma State. Rondell Walker with the jumper, he's got 7. Miles denied by Anderson, and he stepped out. Oklahoma State ball. What a job by Anderson to stick with the lethal Mike Miles.
Well, Mike Boynton told you and I, it was before the Tech game last Thursday, that if they could get Bryce Thompson and or Rondell Walker going, he said that would be huge for Oklahoma State.
Peavy ripped it away, they turn it over. Golden opportunity lost. He was looking for Miller. Three-pointer. Keelan Boone off the mark again. He's 0 of 5 from 3.
Yeah, that's a bad 3 right there because that's contested in transition. And that's where Keelan Boone needs to have the progression on the closeouts like that to put it on the floor and force some kind of help situation.
Miles defended by Likely. He's 0 for 9 and scoreless. Farabello corralled by Oklahoma State. They are swarming defensively. It's a seat with the 3 personals. Doumbia is back in. Cisse's playing with 3 for Oklahoma State. Likely feeding Cisse, left it short. Likely got it back. He banks it in, and Oklahoma on 0 of 9 shooting.
Yeah, both those. It's surprising. Mike Miles, 3rd leading scorer in the Big 12 Conference. And hey, Walker over the last 11 games has averaged 2 points, Ted. And remember, last year as a freshman, really good year, 8 points, shot 33% from 3. He's just really struggled offensively. Sometimes a young player just needs one good game to get them back on track, and he's been really good here in the second half for Oklahoma State.
Miles got to put it up, 3 to shoot, over Likely. He is 0 for 10. The rebound ripped down by Cisse. Likely feeds Cisse. TCU grabs it.
Now, Cisse didn't get it to go right there, but a nice job of catching, keeping his footing, and then the ability to go over his right shoulder. That's something that he's definitely gotten better at.
TCU, 1 of their last 7 from the floor. They haven't scored more than 2.5 minutes. Again, late in the shot clock. The Oklahoma State defense is a puzzle they really haven't solved. Air ball from dollars and are available at Big12Sports.com/buy tickets. Can't wait to see you in Kansas City, March 10th through the 13th. A street fight in Stillwater. Oklahoma State by a point, 10:43 to play. They're on an 11-3 run. Foul called on the perimeter as Cisse gets knocked out. And Brendan, Oklahoma State has done most of its damage here without Bryce Williams. Remember, turned his ankle early in the second half.
Yeah, we talked to Mike Boynton, just about the construction of his roster. Recruiting to length and athleticism, and he was quick to point out, I also want to recruit to depth, and it's showing up here tonight with Williams, their most consistent scorer this season out. But Walker has made plays from the perimeter, and Caleb Boone, when he's been there inside, has been somebody that could throw it into.
Walker leads OSU with 7 points. For TCU, Mike Miles still scoreless, 0 for 10 from the field. 10 to shoot. Miles, catch and shoot over Walker. He drains it against his former summer teammate. Miles breaks the drought and gives TCU the lead.
Yeah, Walker got hung up just a bit, and plenty of space for Miles to size that one up and knock it down.
Moncrief backing down Miller. Blocked by Miller. Miles the other way. Cork making the move against the bigger Cisse. O'Bannon has been quiet. Cork, crowd wanted a whistle. Instead, it's a jumper for O'Bannon, who has 6.
Well, again, just such a great catch and shoot player, and with O'Bannon's size at 6'6", allows him to elevate and get over those closeouts.
Thompson, too strong. Cisse the offensive rebound, and a whistle. A foul on TCU and Emmanuel Miller.
Yeah, here's Miles' first shot that goes down. See, Walker gets hung up there, a little miscommunication. That leaves Miles wide open. And although he hasn't had his typical night, you don't want to give an elite player that first one to go down, because Ted, you and I see it all the time. When a guy of that magnitude or that level gets that first one to go when he's been struggling, they always seem to come in bunches. So if you're Oklahoma State, you've got to be certainly cognizant of that and not sleep on Mike Miles.
Miles had to be thinking back to his freshman season, a home game against Kansas in early January when he was held scoreless in a blowout loss. He was 0 for 8 from the field that night. Started 0 for 10 tonight before that 3-ball. Offensive rebound off the Cisse miss. So again, the former grassroots teammates head-to-head tonight, Miles and Walker. Thompson the drive, and Bryce Thompson is headed to the line.
Well,
Coming off his
Thompson's really
career
good.
game.
Yeah, he's really good once he can turn the corner off ball screen or just off a drive right there, kind of that mid-range. He's not a jet in terms of just blowing by you, but he has a really good first step. You saw it displayed right there. Another reason, Ted, that his point production has been up the last couple of games is because of where he is right now. He's been getting himself to the foul line, which tells you he's driving to contact much better.
On OSU, the worst free throw shooting team in the league, he is now 6 of 13. Thompson is 4 of 4. He's got 8 points to lead the Cowboys. It's a 2-point game. O'Bannon puts it up, and he's fouled.
Foul on the Cowboys. Bryce Thompson, that's his second.
So Thompson picks up his second. And O'Bannon is at the line. Well, Chuck O'Bannon comes from quite the lineage. The son of Charles, the nephew of Ed, who led UCLA to the national title in 1995. Chuck O'Bannon himself, a McDonald's All-American in 2017. He was the 28th ranked player in the ESPN 100. His time at USC marred by injury, and just now turning the corner for TCU in his 5th college season.
Yeah, it's great to see. Obviously, it's in the bloodlines. Uncle and his dad and their terrific careers, not only at UCLA, but also professionally. But, you know, you hate for guys to struggle with injuries and never become what they potentially could. I mean, anybody's been an athlete, there's been a lot of great players that never able to achieve certain things because of an injury. I'm just glad at the latter part of his college career he's healthy and playing good.
Anderson with the blow by against Farabello brings OSU to within 2. Ten to shoot. Miles over Walker. He's got it again, right in Walker's eye. 5-point TCU lead.
And I'm telling you, we just talked about it, with great players, it typically just takes one. Now that was within rhythm, and it was much better guarded, yet Miles confidently knocking that one down.
Thompson, in and out. How did that not go down? Miles started 0 for 10. Made his last 2, lost it, hit the deck, loose ball, scooped up by Moncrief. OSU on the run, through the hands of Walker. Anderson, that was halfway down and didn't drop.
Well, right there, it about goes, but an opportunity for Anderson on that closeout to drive. There was enough space, as that was basically like a secondary break.
TCU has been living inside 10 seconds on the shot clock. Miles high off the glass, Lampkin the tip, doesn't fall.
Already have a road win, and that was their first Big 12 road game of the season. And if you were able to go to Stillwater tonight and get another road win, I mean, that is huge. And those are the most precious. And as you talked about earlier, Ted, these are quad 1 in terms of your tournament resume. This would be an excellent win for TCU.
O'Bannon from the corner, money! Chuck O'Bannon with the triple. It's an 8-point TCU lead, matching their largest of the game.
A lot more activity out front offensively for TCU with their guards. And they're not as passive. They're probing, They're in attack mode, and in simple plays like that, when you're attack mode, you can draw just enough help to kick to a good shooter in the corner like O'Bannon.
Likely. Foul called. Miller trying to stay in front. So Miller with his third personal. Eddie Lampkin has 4 for TCU.
Here's that last possession. You see ball right there. I mean, that's just a classic driving to create help. And he sucks in Bryce Thompson, frees up enough space, and Thompson can't get there for the closeout.
Once again, Oklahoma State missing the front end of a 1-and-1. They're 6 of 15 at the line. TCU has scored 6 in a row. Miles started ice cold, has hit 2 threes since. 3 to shoot. Miles, the runner, couldn't bank it. Offensive rebound for Cork. Throws it up, and I believe it's a tie-up. Forget about the shot that went in. It is a tie-up, and Oklahoma State ball with the arrow.
Well, Miles back in attack mode right there, splits a double team, and Oklahoma State fortunate here they get the jump ball because that's another TCU offensive rebound. Said if that shot goes, I mean, you're down 10, and you're laboring to score as Oklahoma State is. And in a game like this, 8 feels more like 12 or 13.
Especially when you're shooting 32% like Oklahoma State. Anderson got Cork in the air. In the lane, that rolls in. Anderson with 9.
Yeah, great decision by Anderson. See him pass up to 3 and then get to that mid-range right there. That's a big offensive possession for the Cowboys.
It's one of Anderson's better offensive games over the last few weeks when he has really struggled. 4.5 to go. Anderson guarding Mike Miles. Cork puts it up. It falls in. Count it with a foul. The Western Carolina transfer extends the lead. He has a chance at 3.
Boy, this is a great play by Ball. Once again, drives to create help. Cork makes himself available. Oklahoma State slow on the backside or the weak side rotation right there. And a nice little answer for TCU after Anderson made the mid-range for Oklahoma State at the other end.
To your point, Brendan, Ball just 5 points tonight on 2 of 10 shooting as Cork misses the foul shot, but Ball has 6 assists to lead TCU.
And right, Jamie Dixon talked about his importance, the key to this ball club.
Nice cut by Likely, and a great pass by Anderson.
Well, the offenses are starting to make more intelligent plays. Getting to the heart of the defense, drawing help, and creating opportunities. Likely glued to Miles, and he's called for the foul. It's his first. Likely incredulous. We hit the official timeout. Well, Ted, are you surprised? We're in another 2-possession game under 4 minutes here in the Big 12 Conference. It's this way every game.
It's another rock fight in the Big 12. Would you expect anything else? 6-point TCU lead. Ted Emmerich, Brendan Manzer, Mike Miles Jr., the 3rd leading scorer in the league. Started 0 of 10, Brendan, but a couple of threes here in the second half. What's been the difference?
Well, your elite players, Ted, when it matters most, come to the forefront. We saw that with Kansas last night, and Abaji. He didn't score until 5 minutes left of the game, and he ends up with 10 points, and they're winning normal. But when it was on the line, these guys know what to do. Miles got that first one to go. We talked about it. It's like he got his mojo back immediately, and he's just had a different look since.
Miles knocks down the front end of the 1-and-1 after the foul was called on Likely before the official timeout. Mike Boynton says Miles may be the best guard in the Big 12. All apologies to the likes of Abaji and Taz Sherman and so on and so forth. The depth in the backcourt is ridiculous. Miles has 8 now. A bump. Anderson on the move, and Micah Peavy is called for the foul. 2 free throws coming up.
That's smart right there. If Oklahoma State is going to give themselves a chance, first and foremost, they're going to obviously have to string together stops, which they're capable of doing. The other side of it is in the half court offensively. Anderson, Thompson, Likely, whoever, they've got to get downhill for Mike Boynton. You can't settle for threes. You got to look to attack off the bounce after some ball movement. And Anderson, and one of the reasons, as you mentioned, Ted, he's had a better game on the offensive end. His decision-making has been better tonight.
Anderson splits the pair. Oklahoma State can set up its defense. The lead is 7 for TCU. And last touched by TCU. It's another turnover. O'Bannon can't believe it, but it's Oklahoma State ball. Turnover number 22. And the officiating crew has reversed the decision. TCU ball.
Yeah, Ted, I mean, as we saw that replay, I mean, it looked like it went off of Oklahoma State.
Kickball here by Keelan Boone. You're right, it did. And Doug Sermons, Bert Smith, and Michael Greenstein realized that. But still, 21 turnovers for TCU tonight, and they're up 7 on the road.
I tell you what, and this has not been, you don't want to lose credibility and say that it has. The 21 turnovers, you know, for Oklahoma State, they're free throw shooting. They're 7 of 17.
O'Bannon the drive and the hammer! Chuck O'Bannon, oh yeah!
Looked healthy on that one, huh, Ted? Well, not a good closeout. You obviously don't want him to get the 3, but where was the rotation defensively from Oklahoma State? I mean, that is the definition of a straight line drive. So here's Miles O'Bannon. Keelan Boone leaves his feet, and he goes 25 feet straight line to the rim. And Oklahoma State players rotate over. Neither Smith
we just
nor
haven't
Anderson
seen
right
that
there
tonight against the Oklahoma State defense. Thompson hits the 3 for Oklahoma State. It's a 6-point game. TCU had its largest lead at 9.
Now, you're right. Oklahoma State, for the most part, I mean, they've been really solid. They have not given up containment very often here tonight.
5 to shoot. Ball against Keelan Boone. Knocked out of his hands by Boone. Keelan, he's been cold. The struggles continue. Loose ball, scooped up by Cork. Keelan Boone now 0 of 6 from 3. He had been shooting 46% from downtown in Big 12 play coming in.
Just got to continue for Oklahoma State. You got to trust your defense. And then obviously, you got to keep TCU off the glass on this possession.
Farabello. Rebound taken by Bryce Thompson. Oklahoma State down by 6, a minute 4.
You know, if they hover around that 500 mark in this league, they'll end up being just fine.
Oh, Anderson, what a move to escape Miles, and he draws the foul at the rim. 1:34 to go. Fouls on Cork.
Well, even quality defenders. And Miles, you see Miles reach right there, Ted. He got out of position, and you don't want to do that against Anderson. But even those good defenders on Anderson, when he's isolated, he is so quick, it's tough to keep him in front.
Anderson now in double figures with 10. It's his first time in double digits since his season-high 29 against Cleveland State late last month. 4-point game, pressure defense, and a foul with 1:33 to go as TCU tried to get it into Farabello. It's on Thompson.
Yeah, they were getting close to that 5 count. Great job of Keelan Boone pressuring, and well, that's a tough call right there, I think. Bryce Thompson gets his hand in there.
Thompson with his 3rd personal. And Farabello shooting 1-1. A 90% foul shooter, 17 of 19 coming in. This is his first trip to the line tonight.
And you would think as TCU, as they try to close the half, obviously the ball's going to be in Miles' hands, but you want it in Farabello's hands also with his ability to knock down free throws.
Anderson attacks, puts it up. No, whistle. And a foul on TCU. It's on Cork, his 4th. So Lampkin with 4, Cork with 4.
To the line, 23, Tyreek Smith.
And 2 free throws for Tyreek Smith. 7 of 14 on the year. You know, we showed that bracketology for the Big 12 with 8 teams in the tournament at the moment. Oklahoma State would absolutely be a contender as well if they weren't banned by the NCAA.
There's Walker. Defensive substitution right here for Mike Boynton.
Into Miles.
And again, if you're Oklahoma State, Ted, this just needs to be solid defensive possession. Everything needs to go over the top, contested, and then you got to keep TCU off the glass. As impressive as they are there, you don't want to give them another look at this point in the game.
Miles guarded by Anderson. Now Tyreek Smith on the switch. It's short. Smith pulls it down. Oklahoma State down 4, 45 seconds. Anderson. Keelan Boone. 0 for 7, loose ball. Boone tracks it down. 33 seconds. Rondell Walker buries. For Walker to have his first double-digit scoring game since mid-November as TCU gets it into play with Farabello. Ball tapped around, scooped up by O'Bannon. Coles blocked at the rim by Tyreek Smith. Oklahoma State has a chance. They've got 1 timeout left. Bryce Williams turned his ankle early second half. He's been out since. Walker has risen to the occasion in the second half. More from Midwest City, Oklahoma, with his best offensive game in 2 months. And he ties it at 56. He can give Oklahoma State the lead now. Walker comes through. Oklahoma State on top. And so stoic. Rondell Walker does his job at the line. Oklahoma State scoring 7 in a row over the last minute 14 to take the lead.
Well, and you put yourself in position by doing the things that you have to do. You get the defensive stops. You rebound, you keep TCU off the glass. There was the big block by Tyreek Smith that allowed Oklahoma State to have this last possession and get Walker to the line. Now if you're Oklahoma State, you have to be solid here. You can't foul, obviously, but you got to keep everything in front. Lucky for TCU, though, you have a guy in Mike Miles, jet quick. Somehow, if you can get it into his hands, you're going to get some kind of look.
Can Oklahoma State deny Miles in this situation? 4.8 remaining. Here is Miles. Ball for the win! Off target!